Okay, so next we shall solve the MCQ questions based on mechanical properties of solid. So here, first one, solids which break above the elastic limit is called. You are going to call that one as brittle, or you can call that one as ductile, malleable, or elastic. What you are going to call? So if you remember the basic definition of brittle, ductile, malleable, and elastic. So these are all the properties of the solid materials. So if you know this one, definitely you can answer this one. So for this, solid which break above the elastic limit, so that kind of material we are going to call that one as a brittle. Therefore, solid which break above the elastic limit, it is called as a brittle. So therefore, for first one, eighth one is the right answer. So many answered right only. Good. Second one. Out of the following, the most plastic material is iron, wood, rubber, plasticine. So they have given 4 options and we have to choose which material is most plastic material. So among the given materials, plasticine is the most plastic material. Therefore, for second one, D one is the right answer. Vinaya and Srushti answered right. Deepa also answered right. So D one is the right answer. So if you go through the basic definition of plastic material, so definitely you can answer this one. Plastic property you learned, no? So if you know the definition of that one, so you can answer this one easily. So third question, match the following they have given. In the first column, some definition like think meaning of that they have given, and in second column the terminology name they have given, and we have to match those. So first, in the first column they have given first option, second, third, fourth related to terminology, the definition they have given, and in the second column they have given terms, and go through it and try to choose the right relation. So we know a body which regain its original shape after the removal of external force. So that we are going to call elastic body. Therefore, for eighth one, Q is option. First we have to choose the right relation. And we know a body which does not regain its original shape after the removal of external force. So such kind of material, what we are going to call, which do not regain its original shape or size after the removal of external force, that kind of material we are going to call that one as plastic body. Therefore, for second definition, we are going to connect that one as that is called as plastic body. And next, a body which does not show any deformation on applying external forces is called rigid body. Therefore, for C one, so this is the connected answer. And we know the property of the body to regain its original configuration when the deforming forces are removed. So that property we are going to call elasticity. Therefore, for D one, that elasticity is the connected answer. So, okay, all are trying to answer. So here options they have given below here. So for third one, so we already matched that one. So according to this, the right answer for third one, which one is suitable? For third one, eighth one is the right answer. Okay, so many are trying to answer right only. Ashwini, Akshata, Balchandra answered right. Fourth one, the substance which shows practically no elastic after effect. So four options they have given: copper, silver, rubber, and quartz they have given. So which one is the related answer? Can anyone guess this one? Okay, Akshata Kumbar answered right one. So for this, the substance which shows practically no elastic after effect is called, so that is called as quartz. Therefore, the right answer for this is a D one. Okay. So fifth one, two identical solid balls, one of ivory and another of wet clay, are dropped from the same height on the floor after striking the floor. So just carefully observe the options. First one, ivory ball will rise to the greater height than wet clay ball. Second one, ivory ball will rise to the lesser height than wet clay ball. And remaining options are here. Both will rise to the same height. And fourth option they have given, that is insufficient data they have given. So here for fifth one, so two options they are on left side and another two option on right side. So they asked two identical solid balls, one of iron and another of wet clay, are dropped from the same height on the floor after striking the floor. So what it happened, which is the right option we have to choose. As the ivory ball is more elastic than the wet clay ball, therefore it will tend to regain its shape instantaneously after the collision. Hence, there will be a large energy and momentum transfer compared to the wet clay. So thus, ivory ball will rise higher after the collision. Therefore, for fifth one, the right answer is eighth one is the right answer. Okay, good. So many are trying to answer. Sixth one, the potential energy always potential energy is represented by letter U symbolically of two atoms of a diatomic molecule as a function of distance r between the atoms are shown in the diagram that is drawn below here. So U is nothing but that is potential energy of two atoms, and the distance that is represented by letter R between the two atoms that is shown in the diagram itself. So what they asked, read the following statements carefully and we have to choose the right options. So first what they have given, the equilibrium separation distance between the atom is equal to R2. And second point, at R is equal to R1, the force between the atom is repulsive. Third one, for R is greater than R2, the force between the atom is attractive. 3 points related to diagram they have given, and below that they have given 4 options, 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, 2 and 3 they have given. So here for this, for sixth one, so here for this 2 and 3 both points are applicable related to this diagram, that is at R is equal to R1, force between the atom is repulsive. For R greater than R2, the force between the atoms is attractive. Therefore, both 2 and 3 are true statements. Therefore, D1 is the right answer for sixth one. So, Kantappa answered right. That is, D1 is the right answer. Seventh one. Which of the following statement is incorrect, they asked. And below that they have given 4 options. First one, when a material is under tensile stress, restoring force are caused by interatomic attraction, while under compressional stress, the restoring force is due to interatomic repulsion. And second option, they have given the stretching of a coil is determined by its shear modulus. Third option, rubber is more elastic than steel. Fourth one, shearing stress plays an important role in the bulking of a shaft. So which one is right answer? Can anyone guess for this? So we know steel is more elastic than rubber. Therefore, all other statements are correct. So therefore, for seventh one, the right answer is Cth one. So many answered right thing. So for seventh one, Cth one is the right answer. Eighth one. Shear stress is related to, if you know the definition, definitely you can answer. Length, area, volume, and shape. So, okay. Vaishnavi, Jyoti, Tejashwini, so many answered right thing only. So for 8th one, shear stress is related to shape. Therefore, D1 is the right answer. 9th one, if the volume of a wire remains constant when subjected to tensile stress, the value of Poisson's ratio of the material of the wire is. So here, this one we have to calculate by using formula. So Poisson's ratio we have to calculate here. What they have given, if the volume of the wire remains constant when subjected to tensile stress, the value of Poisson's ratio of the material of the wire. So here what they have given, let us consider L be the length and R be the radius of the wire. Then what is the formula for volume of the wire? We know volume of the wire is given by that is pi r square into L. So using this one, if you differentiate both sides, so then we are getting as volume of the wire remains unchanged when it gets stretched. So change in volume becomes 0. Therefore, delta V also becomes 0. Then delta R divided by R whole divided by delta L by L, that value we are getting that one as half. After making the differentiation, we are getting this one. So already in mathematics, you learned how to make the differentiation. Just differentiate this one. Okay, Jyoti answered right one. So Poisson's ratio, in order to calculate the Poisson's ratio, we know the formula lateral strain divided by longitudinal strain. Therefore, we are using this formula, that is lateral strain means delta R by R. Longitudinal strain means delta L by L. So here minus 1 by 2. So that is 1 by 2 is nothing but which answer we are getting 0.5. Therefore, 1 by 2 is nothing but in decimal value, it is equal to 0.5. Therefore, for 9th one, D one is the right answer. Okay. Got this one? Yes. Next, we shall move to next questions. Tenth one. Fluid can develop longitudinal strain only, longitudinal and shearing strain, longitudinal, shearing and volumetric strain. These one volumetric strain only. So we know fluids can develop volumetric strain only. So therefore for 10th one, D one is the right answer. Next, 11th one. Which of the following statement is correct regarding Poisson's ratio? Can anybody guess this one? Which of the following statement is correct regarding Poisson's ratio? So options they have given. First one, it is the ratio of longitudinal strain to the lateral strain. Second one, its value is independent of nature of the material. Third one, it is a unitless and dimensionless quantity. Fourth one, practical value of Poisson's ratio lies between 0 and 1. So related to Poisson's ratio, we have to choose the correct option. So we know The ratio of lateral strain to the longitudinal strain is called Poisson's ratio. Therefore, option A is incorrect. So its value depend only on nature of the material. Therefore, B1 is also incorrect. It is the ratio of two like physical quantities. Therefore, it is a unitless and dimensionless quantity. For that reason, option C is correct statement. And we know the practical value of Poisson's ratio lies between 0 and 0.5. Therefore, option D is incorrect statement. So when we observe all these, for 11th one, the option C is the right answer. Next, 12th one. If two equal and opposite deforming forces are applied parallel to the cross-sectional area of the cylinder that is already shown in the diagram, there is a relative displacement between opposite faces of the cylinder. The ratio of delta x to L is known as. So here cylindrical diagram they have given. So F is applied force, L is the length of the cylinder, theta is that is displacement represents it is. And how much it is displaced, that is represented by delta x. So we know the formula, shearing strain is represented by delta x divided by L. Therefore, it is called as shearing strain. So here for 12th one, the right answer is C one. 13th one, stress is a dash quantity. Whether it is a scalar or it is a vector or it is a tensor or it is a dimensional quantity. So four options they have given. We know stress is a tensile quantity. Scalar means only it is having magnitude, and vector it is having both magnitude and direction. Sometimes it is having magnitude, sometimes it is scalar or sometimes it is a vector. It belongs to the quantity which belongs to both, means it is called as a tensor quantity. Therefore, stress is a tensor quantity. Fourteenth one, the breaking stress of a wire depends on length of the wire, radius of the wire, material of the wire, and shape of the cross section of the wire. The breaking stress of a wire, it always depends upon nature of the material of the wire. We know that one. Therefore, for 14th one, the right answer is C one. Okay, good. Keep it up. All are answering right only. Fifteenth one, a wire is suspended from the ceiling and stretched under the action of weight suspended from its other end. Force exerted by the ceiling on it is equal and opposite to the weight. Then four options they have given. First one, Tensile stress at any cross section of the wire is force by area, F by A. Second one, tensile stress at any cross section is 0. Third one, tensile stress at any cross section of the wire is 2F divided by A. Fourth one, tension or at any cross section of the wire is 2F. They have given 4 options. We know that one, when a wire is suspended from the ceiling and stretched under the action of the weight suspended from its other end, the force exerted by the ceiling on it is equal and opposite to the weight. However, the tension at any cross section A of the wire is just F and it is not a 2F. Hence, tensile stress, which is equal to the tension per unit area, is equal to force by area. Therefore, for 15th one, 8th one is the right answer. That is, tensile stress at any cross section A of the wire is F by A. Next question, maybe everyone, they are going to answer this one. 16th one. In which year Robert Hooke presented his law of elasticity? Here they are mentioned. So we know in the year 1676, Robert Hooke presented his law of elasticity. So now it is called as Hooke's law. Therefore, in the year 1676, Robert Hooke presented his law of elasticity. For 16th one, C one is the right answer. Seventeenth one, according to Hooke's law of elasticity, stress is increased. The ratio of stress to the strain, what it happens, whether it is going to decrease, increase, become zero, or remains constant. So we know, according to Hooke's law, within elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. And how we are going to represent that one? Stress is directly proportional to strain. If you remove the directly proportionality symbol, we are introducing one proportionality constant. Then we are going to represent that one as stress divided by strain is equal to K. K is nothing but that is proportionality constant. So here, or you can call that one as modulus of elasticity. Therefore, so here according to law of elasticity, if stress is increased, the ratio of stress to the strain remains constant. So mathematically it is represented as stress by strain is equal to constant. So here for 17th one, the right answer is D one. So just if you remember the formula, you can definitely answer this one. 18th one, within elastic limit, which of the following graph correctly represent the variation of extension in the length of a wire with external load? And below they have given 4 diagrams. And by observing that one, we know According to Hooke's law, within elastic limit, extension is directly proportional to load applied. So according to that one, the option B represents the correct graph. So therefore, for 18th one, B one is the right answer. Next, 19th one. Substance which can be stretched to cause a large strain are called. What you are going to call? Isomers, elastomers, elastomers, and polymers. So substance which can be stretched to cause large strains are called elastomers. So for elastomers, you can put example of tissue of aorta and rubber and some other example you can put. So therefore, for 19th one, C one is the right answer. Okay, good. So many answered right only. 20th one. The breaking stress for a wire of unit cross section is called yield point, elastic fatigue, tensile strength, Young's modulus. So we know the breaking stress for a wire of unit cross section is called tensile strength. Therefore, for 20th one, C one is the right answer. Next, 21. Figure shows the strain stress curve for a given material. The Young's modulus of the material is. They have given the graph that is plotted stress versus strain. And here the values also mentioned. Strain are plotted. The values of strain are 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. Like that, strain values in the range of 10 to the power of 6, they are mentioned. That is 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. Like that they have given. And we have to calculate Young's modulus of the material. So what is the formula you are using? Young's modulus formula, how we are going to represent. Can anybody try to answer this one? What is the formula you are using? So we know Young's modulus is given by the formula Y is equal to stress divided by strain. And we have to calculate from graph itself. So stress value is 150 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by strain is 0.02. So if you calculate this one, it becomes 7.5 into 10 to the power of 10 Newton per meter square. Therefore, for 21st, the right answer is D one. Twenty-second one, the stress strain graph for a material wire is shown at right side in the graph. The reason in which Hooke's law is obeyed. The ultimate strength and fracture points are represented by. So below they have given 4 options, that is first option OA comma C comma D, second one OB D comma E, third one OA D comma E, fourth one OB C and D. So just observe the diagram. So in the region from O to A, the graph is linear. So from O to A, the graph is linear here. You see the diagram? It is from O to A, it is linear. So if you observe that one, it can possible to analyze easily. So that represents stress is proportional to strain. Thus, in this region, Hooke's law is obeyed. The point D on the graph, so this point, it is called as ultimate tensile strength. Is it right? The point E on the graph is known as, the point E, what we are going to call? Fracture point. So from this diagram, D point is called ultimate strength, E point is called fracture point, and from OT it represents linear graph. So therefore, for 22nd one, the right answer is C1. Got this one? Okay. 23rd one. Which of the following graphs represents stress strain variation for elastomers? So here below they have given 4 options. Among 4 options, we have to choose the right one. So which is suitable? So here for this, seat one is the right answer. 23rd one it is. So for this nature of graphs they have given. So for 23rd one, right answer is seat one. 24th one, the ratio of tensile stress to the longitudinal strain is defined as, what we are going to call that one as Young's modulus. If you know the definition, it is defined as the ratio of tensile or compressive stress to the longitudinal strain. So here among all options, the right answer for 24th one is Young's modulus. That is B one is the right answer.
Thank
25th one, which of the following statement is incorrect, they ask. Can anybody guess the answer for this? Go through 4 options and try to analyze the right answer for 25th one. So first option they have given Young's modulus and shear modulus are relevant only for solids. Second one, bulk modulus is relevant for solids, liquid and gases. Third one, metals have larger value of Young's modulus than elastomers. Fourth one, alloys have larger value of Young's modulus than metals. So metals have large value of Young's modulus than alloys and elastomers. Therefore, for 25th one, the right answer is D one. Because metals have larger value of Young's modulus than alloys and elastomers. Twenty-sixth one. For a perfectly rigid body, so below they have given related statements. First options, Young's modulus is infinite and bulk modulus is 0. Second one, Young's modulus is 0, bulk modulus is infinite. Third option, Young's modulus is infinite, bulk modulus is also infinite. Fourth option, Young's modulus is 0, bulk modulus is also 0. So which one is related and can anybody try to answer this? We know for a perfectly rigid body, both Young's modulus and bulk modulus is infinite. Therefore, for 26th one, C one is the right answer. Jyoti answered right. Next, 27th one. Identical springs of steel and copper are equally stretched. Four options they have given. Less work is done on copper spring. Second one, less work is done on steel spring. Third one, equal work is done on both the springs. Fourth one, data is incomplete. So which one is related answer? So here, if you remember the work done formula, that is half force into delta L, or delta L is equal to FL divided by area into Young's modulus, or change in length is inversely proportional to Young's modulus. So if you compare these relation, so work done for steel to the work done for copper is equal to Young's modulus of copper to the Young's modulus of steel. So this one how we are going to represent means, so for 27th one, work done for steel, work done for copper is equal to Young's modulus of copper to the steel. Therefore, Young's modulus for copper is less than steel. So therefore, work done for steel is less than copper. Therefore, according to this, B one is the right answer. Okay, Tejaswini, Jyoti, they tried well. Right answer. Twenty-eighth one. Let Ys means Young's modulus of steel. Ya means Young's modulus of aluminium. Represents Young's modulus of steel and aluminium. It is said that steel is more elastic than aluminium. Therefore, it follows that four options they have given. and we have to choose the right answer. So options they have given Young's modulus of steel is equal to Young's modulus of aluminium. Second option, Young's modulus of steel is less than aluminium. Third one, Young's modulus of steel is greater than aluminium. Fourth one, Young's modulus of steel to the Young's modulus of aluminium is 0. We know steel is more elastic than aluminium. Therefore, C option is the right answer. Okay, Jyoti Vinaya answered right. Next, 29th one. Which of the following substance has highest value of Young's modulus? Options: aluminium, iron, copper, and steel. So here, if you remember the value of Young's modulus, so Young's modulus for aluminium is 70, and for copper it is 120, and for iron it is 190. For steel, the value of Young's modulus is, for steel it is 200. So from these values, so for 29th one,